All right, we're live on YouTube. Welcome. Welcome to you all. This is our new venue this week. We're now on Friday. It's our YouTube live broadcast of your daily dose. Used to be you just hear me on Blog Talk Radio. Now you see me as well, and I have to make sure at least I don't come here in my underwear. No, only kidding. You ever have a brain flicker? Have you ever had a brain zap? I've had people tell me that, when I'm under high periods of stress, that I felt this in my head, brain zap. Electrical currents moving from side to side, maybe a little bit of a twitch, or a very sudden change in your mood. You ever have any of those? Where your mood just all of a sudden changes? I'm really happy, then I get really sad. I'm really sad. Yeah, no, I'm not talking bipolar. I'm talking about you, healthy individual, you, not old by any means. And you're going to say, like, what are you talking about? What we're talking about today is a very, 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 very technical article that came out from Harvard. And a lot of times I read these and I say, well, really, what's this apply to the average listener, But the cool thing that this article says, and if I had to give you a thumbnail sketch of this, because we're going to be chatting about it, is that if you protect your brain, you can live longer. If you protect your brain, you live healthier. If you protect your brain, you are happier. So again, you're going to say, like, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is this new study that was done on human cadavers. They literally looked into the brains of individuals who had succumbed to some disease. They looked at people in their 60s, people in their 70s, people in their 80s, where their brains were donated to science. And they took a look at parts of the brain that have a role in how long we live. Now, I know what you're going to say, Len. You talk about it all the time, where only God knows the number of days we have here on this planet. Only He knows. And we try to maximize that time that we're here to stay as healthy as we can. It's called preserving the temple. And we do have a duty to do that. But with the dawn of diseases like bipolar disease, which is now becoming more and more prevalent, Alzheimer's disease, which scares me to my inner being. Alzheimer's disease, a terminal illness that used to be never heard of back in the 40s and 50s, but now is affecting a great percentage of our population, and it's growing. So if you're listening now and you're in your 20s, the odds ratio by the time you hit your 70s, 30, 40, 50 years from now, it's projected Alzheimer's will affect 2 out of every 3 of us. And when we start to see the average birth rate in this country going down, and we have the graying of this country, we have to be cognizant of the fact that we can do whatever we can to protect our brain. So I'm going to read to you this article. And again, I have to apologize. It's a little bit technical. It talks about transcription factors. It talks about neural activity. It talks about brain zaps. We'll talk about that. And we're going to find out that they discovered something called the REST, R-E-S-T protein. They discovered it in us. Yeah, it's in us. When I hear people talk about evolution, we evolved from, and I don't know this for a fact, but do you really think monkeys have a rest gene? Do you think a monkey has the same emotional well-being as we do? So as we understand the intricacies of how our bodies operate, and you hear this study, and at the very end, as I go through this in about 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you the only thing that medicine has come up with to silence this brain zap thing. Well, you got to stay tuned to find out what that is. Is it a drug? Is it an Alzheimer's drug? Is it fish oil? Is it eating properly? Yeah, all the above. But one thing surfaced at the end of this. The brain's neural activity, long implicated in disorders ranging from dementia to epilepsy, also plays a role in human aging and lifespan, according to new research led by scientists at the Harvard Medical School. The study published last October in the journal Nature is based on findings from human brains, from the little brains of mice, and from worms. Now, science has said, and I know it's a hard stretch for us to understand, that the brain of a mice and the brain of a worms have similarities to ours on a much smaller scale. But the study results suggested that excessive activity in the brain is linked to shorter lifespans, while suppressing such overactivity can extend your life. Wow. So what are you saying, Len? If I have one of these high-tech jobs where I'm using my brain a lot, I'm not going to live as long? And we've seen that. We've seen when you put a human being into a highly stressful situation where the brain is required to work a lot, cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, they all go up. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about maintaining your brain health. The findings offer the first evidence that the activity of the nervous system affects human longevity. Although previous studies had suggested that parts of the nervous system influence aging, the role of neural activity in aging, especially in humans, has remained murky. We just didn't know it. An intriguing aspect of our findings is that something as transient as the activity state of the neural circuits could have a much more far-reaching consequence for physiology and lifespan, said senior author Bruce Yanker, professor of genetics in the biology of aging at Harvard. This is your nervous system within the brain. Neural excitation appears to act along a chain of molecular events famously known to influence longevity. Key factors come out here. I told you this was heavy. Put it all into perspective. Quiet the overactive brain, part 1. Part 2, feed the brain. Part 3, understand the role of insulin and insulin-like growth factor signaling pathways. And we talked about it on an earlier show this week about the role of having your insulin levels checked and making sure that it's not too high or too low. The key in this signaling cascade appears to be a protein called REST, R-E-S-T. This is the new discovery, previously shown by the lab to protect the aging brain from dementia and other stresses. Neural activity, again, refers to that constant flicker of electrical currents and transmissions in the brain. Excessive activity or excitations could manifest in numerous ways, from a muscle twitch to a change in mood or thought. It's not yet clear from the study whether or how a person's thoughts, personality, or behavior affects their longevity. An exciting future area of research will determine how these findings relate to such higher order human brain functions. The study could inform the design of new therapies for conditions that involve neural overactivity, such as Alzheimer's disease and bipolar disease. The findings raise the possibility that certain medicines, such as drugs that target this REST protein, R-E-S-T, that stands for RE silencing transcription factor. Like you really needed to know that. REST. I like rest, like S in sleep. So they're looking for a drug that could target that. So if we could stimulate that transcription factor to calm the overexcitation, we could stimulate it to get more we could avoid Alzheimer's disease. Now, they give you the answer here of certain behaviors that have already surfaced, already been shown scientifically to quiet the rest gene. Human variations in neural activities might have both genetic and environmental causes. So they're recognizing the fact that there's something in our genes that could be a factor here, as well as things we're exposed to. Heavy metals, things in the environment. Yanker and her colleagues began their investigation by analyzing gene expression patterns. They looked at donated brain tissue from hundreds of people who died at ages ranging from 60 to over 100. A striking difference appeared between the older and younger participants. The longest lived people, those over 85, had the lower expression of genes related to neural excitation than those that had died between 60 and 80. Next came the question the scientists confront. Is it a correlation or a cause? They had the brains. They saw the difference. Those that had less excitation had less changes to brain tissue and lived longer. These experiments revealed that altering neural excitation does indeed affect lifespan. All signs pointed to this protein, REST. REST is known to regulate genes and also suppress neural excitation. Blocking REST, or its equivalent, in the animal models led to a higher neural activity and earlier death, while boosting REST did the opposite. So that's what they're doing in animals. It was extremely exciting to see how the different levels of evidence converged. The researchers found that from worms to mammals, REST suppresses the expression of genes that are centrally involved in neural excitation. This includes neurotransmitter receptors. So when I'm working with somebody and we're dealing with issues, and we want to check their neurotransmitter status, we do that using DNA analysis from urine. But this is saying the receptor sites can be affected. In addition to its emerging role in staving off neurodegeneration, discovery of REST's role in longevity provides additional motivation to develop drugs that target the protein. So the drug industry is like streaming at this. They're just, their mouths are watering. We're going to develop a drug, and we're going to have the first true drug. It's going to avoid Alzheimer's, because we don't have anything right now that's worth it. The possibility of being able to activate REST would reduce excitatory neural activity and slow aging in humans is extremely exciting. Now, I'm going to get back that in the very beginning of this study, they said a certain behavior has been known to stimulate the REST gene to suppress overexcitation. A behavior. What do you think it is? Walking? Exercising? What do you think? I've done entire shows on this in the past. Want to know what it is? Praying. Praying to your Maker. Praying to God. Becoming one with Him. Remember that word one, O-N-E. Becoming one with Him. Certain behaviors such as meditation and praying could extend your lifespan by modulating neural activity and stimulating the REST protein. Do I need science now to tell you that prayer works? And again, we're talking about calming your brain, becoming one, reading scripture, taking your Bible out, understanding, and getting into a discussion mode with God can help you to live a healthier, longer life. Scientifically, mind you. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we're going to do a show because my nickname in school is called the Gut Guy. So tomorrow we're going to do an article. What does gut health really mean? What does gut health really mean? We'll be here on YouTube Live tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 a.m. A lot of you just got used to me doing Facebook Live, but we've transitioned over to this because we can store these. So that if you have somebody that's showing memory issues at an early age, if you're getting somebody who is feeling that constant flicker in the brain or complaining, I feel brain zaps all the time, or perhaps you know somebody that is bipolar and the medications just aren't doing it, and we're going to a counselor and we're taking medications and we're in fill in the blanks. Notice I don't have a supplement for this. If I could put praying and meditation into a pill, I'd make a fortune, right? Now you're going to say, it's not your normal kind of show. I said, yeah, I know. I told you it was a little intense, and it is a lot intense. But when we have science behind what we do, and we share that with you, and I can find a study that says all we've got right now, there is not a drug for this. They're looking, they're studying, but I don't think they're going to ever find one. And that's not being derogatory. It's basically saying, if we understand neural activity in the brain, understand the role of meditation, quiet time, and prayer, how it has been scientifically backed to increase our lifespan, and it doesn't come in a pill. I think that's pretty powerful. If you want to set up your personal consultation time, by all means, give us a call. 678-228-8900, 678-228-8900. Our website is The Nutrition Shop, SHOPPE.net, thenutritionshop.net. Look for that quiet place. Look for that time. Close the door. Turn off the world for a little while. And get into the habit of doing it every day. Get into a discussion with God. He's not a vending machine. You don't just go to him when you need something. Talk to him now. He can give you the peace you need. 678-228-8900 is our number. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. What does gut health really mean, and how important is it? Probably the most important thing that you can do outside of praying. God bless you, folks. 678-228-8900. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.